Hello and greetings again, Coach Blooming and dear viewers. Today we are here to talk about the weekly market updates, and we will talk more about what's happening in the market, like we always do, especially the comments from the Fed Chair Jerome Powell this week, and also we'll cover SMCI as a stock to just share some insights, but also for those who have been following what's been going on in the cryptocurrency market, we will talk about that and we'll share what we think about that. And as usual, we will talk about the economic data for this week and next week, and any other issues that may come up in the conversation. But I want us to first of all welcome my colleague and partner, Blooming. Coach, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. I'm always excited to be here every Friday just to talk about what's going on in the market. So these are just two friends talking about what's going on in stocks and crypto. So welcome, everybody.
Yes, and we always are transparent to say whatever we talk in this space, this is not to be taken as investment advice. It's us just sharing our insights. You should always consult practitioners, specialists. For example, if you want to know more about, investing, feel free to reach out to any one of us or go to the bank. They are financial advisors there. They are paid to do that. Now, briefly, today the market, usually Fridays, this is a typical Friday, but Fridays usually they are red. You can see here that the major indices are down, specifically the S&P 500 index is down 1.42%. You can see here, right, the percentage change today. This is healthy. Markets go up and down, but probably we will talk more about why we think the market has been spooked, like what my colleague likes to say here. And the gold market, you can see that gold is slightly up 0.05%. You can see that is it. This is live, and this is happening as we are talking about. But something that we have always said on this space is that we have observed that the VIX and the equities market, they are negatively correlated. This is it in action. You see here today, the equities market stocks, ETC, they are down, but you see the VIX index here, the volatility is green. It's in the green. So that's something that we also use to hedge our portfolios here. Stocks like Nvidia, Tesla is actually up today. This is something that is interesting. It's a green in the middle of a red sea. You can see today it is still up. I traded the Tesla ETF that I traded and made a small amount, but that's good. Profit is profit. And that's something that's interesting. Coach, do you want to comment on that? Why do you think the market is down today?
Yeah, so again, nothing we say here is financial or investment advice. So again, nothing we say here is financial or investment advice. But we're seeing that the market is red today on a Friday. I think I'm very, very excited about that because why? We've had a rally since almost over a week now. And again, it's always good when the market takes a breather. It just gives us more buying opportunity. And we
Mhm.
can see how the VIX has already skyrocketed to over, is it now 19% up today already? So again, just as a smart investor, as Isaac and I, we've always said that yes, even though we're very optimistic about the market, a smart investor will always, always just edge their portfolio. And we just seen a little bit of red today. I think it's healthy for the market overall because the market going up just indefinitely like that. I personally don't like that because it doesn't give us buying opportunities. But again, this is also a lesson for people that are just coming into the market because most new investors they come into the market at the peak, meaning that they start buying a stock when maybe you remember like Tesla went up to maybe 260 something this week, and I'm sure that some people bought at that
I
264,
think
right?
three something, buddy.
Yes, 364. So again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy Tesla at 364. No, if you're a long-term
Or you
investor,
should buy.
yeah. So if you're a long-term investor, it's still a good deal. But I think one of the things that I've learned from you, Isaac, is that it's better to buy when the market is red. It's better to buy when we have a
Mhm.
correction. And this red day is just a buying opportunity. So I might buy some stocks before the market closed today. So before the market closes today, because again, is I'm always very, very happy anytime we have a red day because I just know that this is an opportunity to buy. So, and again, if anybody tells you that, oh, we know why the market is down today, I really don't think that everybody or nobody can really tell you that this is exactly why. There are a
Yes.
lot of factors that can play into this, but just in a short term, like just in a simple term, it just means that the market has rallied so much and we need to take some breather, and that's very, very healthy.
Thank you so much. And possible reasons, I was reading the Barons today, and they said that Fed Chair Powell made some comments at the Dallas Regional Chamber where he was speaking, I
Yes.
think yesterday, that is him and the Federal Open Market Committee, they are not in a hurry to cut rates. So what this means is it's data dependent, right?
Yes.
Like this data, as we will show you, economic data, CPI, core CPI data, it came up higher and of course, it was expected. But what that means is if inflation starts to uh, bring its ugly rear again, that might mean that the Fed might have to rethink in terms of reducing the interest rates. And usually the market had priced in my view, a further rate cut. So what that
Mhm.
means, it has to readjust to equilibrium. That means there might be potential drops in the equities market. Again, nobody can really predict the direction of the stock market, but this is us just using macroeconomics to say,
Mhm.
and we understand the relationship between interest rates being increased or decreased, right? Versus what happens in the equities market. But people can wake up feeling a certain way, right? You saw what happened to Tesla after President-elect Trump was elected. Um, so was projected as the winner. What that means is that people have so much faith in the sense that uh, companies that are associated with Elon Musk and many others, they may benefit from deregulation and
Mhm.
also given his proximity to the incoming president. Now, Coach, did you want to comment on that before we go on SMCI?
Yes. So, like, anytime Jay Powell speaks, it
Yes.
has the
Yeah.
capacity to move the market. So again, anytime it just speaks, just listen up because just look at the next day, the market can just tank, right? But
Yes.
again, these are just
Why is
short
that
term.
so, Coach? You wanna explain to
Okay,
our
so
audience?
you because again, we've been in a restrictive environment, meaning that interest rate has been going up, and as an
It's
investor,
been
you
going down, right?
so we've been in a restrictive environment where interest rate has been going up.
Yeah.
And because of that, a lot of asset has been going down, right? But
Yes.
now when Jay Powell pivoted, right, the Fed
Yeah.
pivoted and interest rate has been going down, you can see the inverse relationship with the stock market.
Yes.
Now, when the Fed is now saying, hey, we're not in a hurry, you're just signaling to us investors that, hey, are you telling me that my investment is going to go down again? So those are some of the nuances that we have to look at that. Okay, anytime
Yeah.
Jay Powell speaks, I'm looking at it like an investor. How do I look at my portfolio? How would that impact my portfolio? So for any investor, you're saying that, oh, doesn't it mean that my investment, the value is going to go down temporarily? No investor technically want that. We want our asset to be rising, I mean, to be going
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I think might be happening. But again, in the grand scheme of things, I really don't think that we're going to be in a continuous restrictive environment, given that J Powell has been reducing the interest rate. But irrespective of that, even though the Fed says, oh, we're data dependent, like we have to look at what's going on, we can't just make a rash decision saying that we're going to keep cutting interest rate. But again, I just feel like we're gonna keep having a strong Q4 into
Yes.
2025. That's just my own personal belief. But again, I could totally be wrong. So, but yeah, that's my take on this.
Yeah, I'm also thinking next week, Nvidia on Wednesday, it will report
Yes.
earnings that could potentially also move the market. But again, These are just hazards. The way that I look at investing is that it's like you are learning to drive in the highway, and there may be hazards. Maybe there might be
Yes.
rain, there might
Snow.
be snow. So sometimes you have to slow down to make sure
Yes.
that you don't get involved in an accident. Sometimes it may not be a cause that you can control. It could be
Mhm.
someone just comes and hit. It could be something that is unknown, maybe in the
Yes.
Middle East, maybe something unexpected happens. Now,
Yep.
we can move on to SMCI, and then we'll talk about crypto before we conclude by looking at the economic data. Now, Coach, do you want to comment about SMCI stock
So, yeah,
in
so I
particular?
think this week again, for those of us that have been following the story for SMCI, we saw, I think, about 3 months ago, there was a report by Edinburgh Research. This is a short seller that usually takes an active position in any company that they report on. So just know that they already have a financial incentive for the stock to go down. But the story here is that I think they were supposed to release I think the
Yeah,
10K or the
financial
thank
statements.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, their financial statement as of
yeah.
today, I think to today.
Mhm.
And if they don't release this by tomorrow, they are going to get delisted on Nasdaq.
Oh,
This again is one of the things that every smart investor should pay attention to as red
yes.
flags, in the sense that I'm not saying that this is like just set
Yeah,
in stone.
yeah.
Anytime Edinburgh Research releases a report about a company, pay
Yes.
close attention to it. Anytime a company says, hey, we can release our financial statement this quarter,
What are they hiding?
yeah, what are they hiding? Those are some of the things, because I see some people, they're still
Yeah,
they were buying the dip on SMCI. And I'm like, why would you buy the dip on SMCI? This is a falling knife. Like, no, I
yes,
wouldn't do that. So the
yeah,
fact that it can potentially get delisted on NASDAQ again,
yes,
I won't even touch this. It's just a lesson for every investor
yes.
that, hey, yes, we want to make money in the market, but it's also important to pay attention to casualties like this.
Yeah, this is very classic example.
Mhm.
But maybe it might pivot. So what some people do is they kind of like trade it to say maybe there are two ways to look at it, to short it or to go long, right?
Short.
To short, that means you sell, open a position by selling, right? But that means you are borrowing from the broker, the shares
Yeah.
that you are holding, with the expectation that it drops and then you buy at a
Buy
lower
back.
price. So the difference, the profit being the higher selling, the higher selling price and the lower buying price. Then you make
Hmm.
the profit minus fees and maybe taxes.
Yeah.
So when I look at it, but the risk is that if let's say they release it and the market okays it, might potentially rally up. So you can get squeezed. So that is the risk. The loss, the potential loss could be unlimited if you don't have a stop loss. But for some people, like Coach has said, they could buy this and say this is an opportunity. I think this is something that the management can fix.
Mhm.
But for me, I stay
Yeah.
away from such.
I I think they had a similar issue in 2020 or 2021 with their
Yeah,
financials, and I wouldn't touch this. I mean, there are better opportunities in the market. I
yeah.
mean, no, we don't have to do SMCI, but this is just my own personal take. So,
And
yeah.
again, it's not investment advice. Now, Bitcoin and the crypto space, there are a lot of developments. Coach, do you wanna summarize as briefly as you can what's
Yes.
going on, Coach, in the
Yes.
crypto
So
market?
I'm gonna share something. Just give me a second. So, crypto this week. Okay, before I share, maybe I should just stop this. So, what has been going on in the crypto market this week? Number one, we've seen that Bitcoin reached an all-time high of 93,000 American dollars. And I remember in the last market commentary that we did mention that, hey, I think then Bitcoin was around 70 something thousand American dollars. And I was very excited saying, hey, Coach Isaac, I
Yeah,
can't wait to look back on this video when Bitcoin crosses $100,000.
yeah,
Again, we're not yet there, but we're getting closer. This
yeah.
is very, very optimistic. And I'm going to share some things So just give me 1 second. So
Now.
more of a long-term strategy for me personally. So
Yeah.
most people, when they look at this, they might feel like, oh, I should have bought Bitcoin when it was 74,000. Some people might even be saying that, oh, when it was 48,000, I no, this thing is going to go lower. But in the grand scheme of things, if you have some money, just this year, because why? This is what the smart people are doing. This is what
Yeah.
we keep doing over time. And most times, I tend to tell people that if you are in crypto now, you're still pretty early. You're still pretty early. Like a lot of the fact that 100,000 Bitcoin was something that was very far-fetched, and now we're even getting closer to that. Again, these are just bullish signs for crypto. And I also read just recently, and this is on Wall Street Journal, just at the bottom here, Bitcoin tops 90K. This is
Yeah.
going mainstream, meaning that a lot of people will be saying this. And for those of us that might still be saying, oh, Bitcoin, maybe I've already missed a train. No, because why? If you look at the search for Bitcoin in 2017, when we were at the peak of crypto, we're not yet there. We're still around 18. So there's still more room for this to just grow, meaning that this asset is still going to grow into even in 2024, 2025. I honestly see that this is still going to increase more over time. But in the grand scheme of things, Bitcoin is going to go over 100,000. 1 million, maybe 2030 plus, maybe 2032, but it's happening. And it's not too late to get into this. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when we look at the chart for the top assets by market cap, gold still leads, Nvidia number two, Apple. But look at where Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is number 8. So there is always a possibility for this thing to keep going up. So
Looking at the economic data. Why do we look at economic data? Because this kind of like it's more like when you are driving, you look at the other robots because they can also potentially move the markets. This week, as you can see here, there was core CPI. It came up. It means inflation ticked up higher, but it was expected, right? It was actually higher than expected because it was 2.4, so it went up by 0.2%. So this is not good news for the equities market if it continues on this trajectory. You can see that there were more people who were employed than in the previous week, so this is good news. Now, next week, I think the major economic data that might move the market could be, the jobs as usual, but also the Philadelphia Fed manufacturing sector and the S&P Global US manufacturing, the PMI for November. But the point at the end of the day is that they are focused. And
mhm.
if there is any variance, let's say it comes up higher or lower, the market likely reacts to that, and that reaction can potentially create opportunities in the equities market or even other markets, commodity markets. We focus mostly on the equities market, and we have just described like Coach Blooming is more knowledgeable in the crypto space. So what can you say to someone maybe who is starting to invest now, yeah, under these macroeconomic conditions, coach? What would you say to your clients? Of course, it's
So
not investment advice.
So one of the key things that I always tell most clients is that, hey, number one, learn before you invest. That
Yeah.
is just a smart thing to do because why? Money is a game and it's important to know how to play to win. And even apart from that, it's also important to know that the way that we win in investing
Yeah.
is by knowing where the value is going to be before everybody knows and
Yes.
just buy and just hold. That's just investing, meaning that you know that this thing is going to appreciate over time. But a lot of people don't understand it yet, and you just buy and let the market do its thing. And by the time the market realizes this, you're already sitting on a lot of capital gain.
Like what you
Again,
did with Tesla, right?
yeah, like Tesla, Bitcoin, Ethereum, these are just what we do, meaning that just buy quality assets. DCA over time, I think that was a quote that I shared in our investment group that, and this is by Peter Lynch. I'm just going to
Yes.
paraphrase that a lot of money is lost by just waiting for correction instead
Yes.
of you to just DC over time. Meaning that don't time the market. Don't try to be smart saying, oh, I'm going to buy now, then sell when it goes 10%, then buy back, but then buy back again. That is not a winning strategy long term. Can you do that if you're a trader? Yes. But as an investor personally, I like to buy when the stock price is down and just sit on it and keep DCAing over time, meaning that I keep buying consistently over time because why? I just tell myself that, I don't think I'm smart enough to time the market. And if I'm not smart enough to time the market, I just DCA over time. So to any new investor, number one, learn before you invest and just do this for the next 5, 10 years. You'll be good. Buy quality assets.
Fantastic, coach. I like that you are very generous with sharing us a lot of your knowledge on crypto, on the equities market. So I really appreciate you. I'm hoping that next week, hopefully, maybe we have some good news for the crypto market. But the market, like you like to say, it is a way of speaking
Mhm.
itself. So at the end of the day, there might be something that we don't know. But as an investor, what I'm doing right now is I'm just watching, like what's really going on. I have a hedged portfolio, but hopefully, from my trading side, I am going to just, have some more wins, and we will be sharing more insights about, our trading insights in the upcoming videos, and hopefully next year, if that's something that you guys want to learn more about. As we wrap up, I wanted to say trade and invest wisely. It's your money. It's very important to educate yourself. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to either myself or Coach Blooming. That's what we do most of our time. We are thinking about the market and also in a small way, just investing. And I also trade in the US stock markets and Canadian stock markets. So have a lovely weekend, Coach. Do you want to have some parting words?
May the market always be in our favor.
Thank you so much. Hallelujah. Bye
Alrighty.
bye for now.
Mhm.